This is your final warning regarding the unauthorized vehicle tag. Failure to comply will result in immediate fines as outlined in the attached notice.
She hammered a shiny certified envelope to my driveway post at 7:12 a.m., like she owned my concrete, then screamed that I was stealing community space with my parked car. Wet leaves stuck to the asphalt and the smell of fresh mulch mixed with gasoline from a neighbor's lawnmower. Her clipboard looked official, but the paper was just a threat dressed up in confidence. This is a dramatized story, but the HOA tactics are real. The rule she waved around meant I couldn't park in my own driveway past sundown, or I'd be fined and towed. It mattered because my kid's school drop-off is early, and my partner works nights. We needed the car close. She stood at the curb like a bouncer, pearls flashing, lips tight, and she pointed at the envelope like it was a badge. Behind her, two neighbors slowed their dog walks, then suddenly stared at the sky like clouds were fascinating. I tried being polite. I emailed the board. I asked for the parking policy. I asked why the letter was nailed to my property. No answer. At the next neighborhood gathering, people smiled too hard and avoided me like I had a contagious attitude. One older guy whispered, "Don't poke the hornet's nest." Then he pretended he didn't say it when she walked by. That's when I realized it wasn't just about my car. It was about control. So I stopped begging and started building a case. I filmed the post, the nails, and her hand slapping the envelope in place. I took close photos of the driveway edge and the curb cut. I logged every time she marched over to inspect my tires. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I also pulled my closing paperwork from the back of a drawer, the boring stuff you never think you'll need, and I measured where my property line actually sat. Then I used the boring parts of life like a weapon. I sent a calm written request for a copy of the parking rule and the board's authority to enforce it on private property. Certified mail, my turn. I asked for meeting notes, enforcement logs, and any complaint tied to my address. A week later, a thick packet arrived. The file landed with 63 pages. And right in the middle was the policy she'd been quoting, an old draft. Not approved. Not signed. Not even dated. Here's the twist that made my hands shake, in a good way. A neutral property records clerk I spoke with on the phone explained that my driveway wasn't common space at all, and the board map they used was off by several feet. Someone had been enforcing rules using a bad boundary diagram. That meant her letter wasn't a warning. It was a bluff. And the nails in my post? That was damage to my property, plain and simple. At the next open board session, I walked in with my binder and my calm voice. She started her usual routine, raised chin, pointed finger, big sigh. I held up the pages and said, "Your own packet shows the rule was never adopted." Then I slid a copy of the boundary diagram correction across the table. The room went quiet, like somebody hit mute. Even the onlookers in the back leaned forward. The board chair cleared their throat and said, "We will pause enforcement immediately pending review." After that, the driveway stayed mine again. No more nails. No more surprise letters. A month later, the board sent a plain notice to everyone, no names, no drama, saying boundaries were being updated and enforcement would follow approved policies only. The neighbors who once avoided eye contact finally waved again. One even brought over cookies and mumbled, "Sorry, we were scared." I smiled, took the cookies, and thought the same thing I always do now: the loudest bully hates paperwork.